Nearly all of the altcoin market has been trending down recently. However, even with altcoins melting to the downside throughout Q2 of 2024, there has been one layer 1 protocol that has continued to trend higher. And with so much attention focused on this one layer 1 protocol, I thought it was about time to revisit it and see if it continues to stack up. And the layer 1 protocol that I'm of course talking about is Kaspa and its associated token KAS. And KAS has recorded an 80% increase since the start of 2024, and get this, 3,250% increase since the start of January 2023. So the question is, with KAS trending higher, is the coin still undervalued in comparison to where it could go in the future? And therefore, does it still provide a good investment opportunity? And to understand this question, I want to figure out why Kaspa is viewed more favorably than other layer 1 protocols, and what is it doing that others aren't? After all, the layer 1 niche is heavily saturated. Before I dive into Kaspa, if you enjoy the video, please hit the like button down below. I would love to have you as a subscriber on the channel. And of course, if you don't want to miss out on videos like this in the future, hit the bell notification icon down below too. And if you're new to crypto, or maybe you're experienced in crypto, but you're looking for an ally to help you navigate these crazy markets on a weekly basis, things happen in crypto so quickly, you need to keep your finger on the pulse on a weekly basis. And you need to evaluate altcoins like this so you can build an altcoin shortlist. If that all sounds like something that you might be interested in, then my 80/20 crypto newsletter is the place to head to. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. And with all of that being said, let's get stuck into Kaspa. So as I've just mentioned, Kaspa is a layer 1 protocol. It uses a proof of work consensus mechanism just like Bitcoin. However, unlike Bitcoin, Kaspa uses something called a block DAG technology to process blocks. And specifically, it's called the Ghost DAG. And what does this mean exactly? Well, it means that instead of ordering blocks in a continuous chain, one after the other, like a blockchain, Kaspa isn't a blockchain. Instead, Kaspa can produce multiple blocks simultaneously in a web-like formation. And if you head over to Kaspa's website, they do a pretty good job of explaining exactly what this looks like through their block DAG visualizer. So you can see that blocks are connected to multiple other blocks in this web-like pattern. In comparison to if you had a blockchain, they would be linked one after the other. Now, combined with proof of work mining, of which it's taken a lot of inspiration from Bitcoin because they believe it is the most decentralized, the most secure way of securing a blockchain, but combining proof of work with this new block DAG structure, there's an argument within the Kaspa community that this is helping to solve the blockchain trilemma. So the problem of speed, security, and decentralization. That is why Kaspa excites so many people. And I'll add a little caveat here, whether this is the case is yet to be seen, and we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Now, Kaspa, when it was first developed, was aiming to be a direct competitor to Bitcoin. So if you remember, Bitcoin was created to be a payments layer. The intention was to be able to transfer wealth without any centralized intermediaries. Over time, that has changed and now it's become a store of value, but Kaspa still wants to be that payment layer, much like silver is to gold, or used to be to gold. That is the focus of Kaspa's base layer. So fast and scalable transactions. Now, in addition to that, most recently, Kaspa is also currently developing layer 2s into their ecosystem. And the plan there is to handle smart contract capabilities. And we'll talk more on that shortly. Now, one of the white papers associated with Kaspa was first published in November of 2021. And this was published by one of the founders, Jonathan Sompliamski. And Jonathan is an OG in the crypto world. He's been around a long time, he's got a lot of experience, and he was actually the inventor of this protocol which is used called Ghost DAG, and we can see this on the screen here. So this is the white paper that was first published, and that Kaspa now utilizes this technology. But it's also a technology that is referenced within the Ethereum white paper. And that gets, again, a lot of people excited here. So Kaspa is taking aspects of both Bitcoin and also Ethereum. Now, the mainnet for Kaspa was launched closely after that in 2021 and was accompanied by the fair launch of the KAS coin. So there was no ICO with KAS and there was no VC backing here. And since that moment, they've been building, focusing on the payments layer, but also in addition to that, building toward the implementation of decentralized applications in Kaspa's ecosystem. And in order to get that, they need smart contracts. And most recently, they have released the beta launch of their own native tokens, which would be KRC20s. So in the very near future, you are going to be not only be able to use Kaspa as a payments layer, but you're going to be able to build decentralized applications on top of the Kaspa ecosystem. And then we come to the KAS coin, and this is used to power the entire Kaspa ecosystem. So it's used to power and secure the Kaspa block DAG through its proof of work mining process, so you can mine this coin. It's also needed for all transaction and gas fees. Then, of course, it can also be used as the medium of exchange. So if you do want to transfer wealth, the KAS coin can be used to do that. In the future, when they launch KRC20 smart contracts on the mainnet, then you would assume that nothing's going to change there, and the KAS coin will still be needed for all gas fees that take place in the decentralized applications that are built within the Kaspa ecosystem. Now, here we have Kaspa on the CoinMarketCap website, and we can see that the price of Kaspa is currently at 20 cents. We can also see that this is currently all-time high levels, which is pretty incredible considering the fundamentals and the macro state of the crypto market currently. The market cap of Kaspa stands at just shy of $5 billion. So this is now a large cap coin. Now, although it's not stated on CoinMarketCap here, they've only got the total supply. There is meant to be a maximum supply of 28.7 billion KAS coins. With 24.3 billion in circulation, that is approximately 84%. And we can check this by heading over to one of Kaspa's explorers, and you can see down at the bottom of the screen here, they have the total that is in circulation at the moment and also the maximum. It does say in approximately in brackets there, so approximately the maximum is 28.7 billion. I'd be interested to know why it's approximate. But on here you can see that the percentage mined is 84.7% and that the current block reward for each block that's added to the Kaspa block DAG is 98 KAS coins. So with all of that now covered and a bit of an understanding about where Kaspa has come over the last 6 months, we now need to look at both the upsides and the risks for the KAS coin. What are the things that could drive demand that could send the price of KAS skyrocketing higher, and what are the things that could see the value of KAS fall through the floor? And as always, starting with the upsides, this is definitely a coin that people are buying right now. Momentum is with this coin, and even throughout drawdowns even throughout the drawdowns that we've seen over the past couple of months, people have been out there buying the KAS coin. So appetite for KAS and the Kaspa ecosystem has not waned. And if it can continue climbing when the rest of the market is down, it is seriously an impressive sign. Secondly, in addition to this is Kaspa's first ever bull run. We shouldn't forget that. We have seen what can happen when coins that experience their first bull run hit the market, especially ones that are getting a lot of attention, such as Kaspa. And when you think back to the likes of Solana and Cardano in the bull run of 2021, did they have that much adoption when they exploded and when things went insane in 2021? I'm not sure that they did, and you may have the argument that Kaspa doesn't have that much adoption yet, but the likes of Solana and Cardano back in 2021 didn't really have that much adoption either, not in comparison to what they have now. Another potential upside is that even with a market cap of nearly $5 billion now, when you scroll down to the exchange listings, the KAS coin has still not been listed on centralized exchanges such as Coinbase or Binance. So these could provide considerable catalyst events if this were to be listed on those exchanges in the future. Another thing to take into account is that we have 84% of the KAS coin in circulation. That means that there is a very small percentage that is left to hit the market, and that's only going to be entering the market through Kaspa mining. Inflation is also decreasing every year due to Kaspa's halving events, and we can see this in the emission schedule here. So we can see that every month or so, there is a reduction in the block rewards for Kaspa. So although the reductions are getting smaller with time, there is a continual reduction, which should add a bit of a deflationary mechanism to the KAS coin. And then finally, at the end of June, Marathon Digital, one of the biggest Bitcoin miners in the industry, came out and said that they had mined $16 million worth of Kaspa, and it was to basically diversify away from Bitcoin. Now, Marathon, as I've just said, is one of the largest mining firms in the world. So does this mean, or could this mean, that in the future other mining companies could do the same? Or are they already doing it? And if they are already doing it and it comes out later on down the line, that will act as another catalyst to send the price of KAS higher. But now we come back to the risks. It's not all perfect with the Kaspa ecosystem, and the biggest risk that all layer 1 protocols suffer from is the risk of competition. Kaspa is yet another layer 1 in a sea of layer 1 blockchains, and it aims to overthrow the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which it won't. But the truth is, this is an unproven protocol. It's completely untested. Therefore, is this a better investment option than layer 1 protocols where there is already a huge amount of deployment, such as Solana, for example? And although it's marketed as the first DAG out there, it's actually not the first block DAG to exist. The likes of Hedera Hashgraph, IOTA, and Nano, they all use this DAG structure. None of them have really taken off in a big way. None have reached true adoption and have all had their faults. So this new piece of technology, it hasn't really stood the test of time just yet. Another risk for Kaspa is that when you look at on-chain data from Kaspalytics, there is no clear uptrend in the number of unique wallet addresses, which you might expect if you were seeing an increase in the price of the associated coin. So stats for the number of unique addresses, which we've got on this chart, has remained relatively flat. We had a peak at the end of last year in November and December. We had a peak just in June, at the end of June, when they released the KRC20 beta tests. Pretty much in between, it's been relatively flat. And for a layer 1 protocol that is growing in adoption, you would want to see the number of unique addresses increasing. Another thing to consider about the KAS coin is the fact that this is a coin that is held by a large amount of whales. So those holding over 100,000 KAS coins dominate the overall distribution of KAS. And this means that it's a coin that's slightly skewed and maybe even possibly manipulated. We don't know. But possibly manipulated towards the largest players in the market. It also means that with so many whales, they have the power to dump onto retail investors. And then finally, jumping across to Kaspa's chart here on TradingView, the technicals for the coin are getting slightly weaker with time. And the thing that I want to point out here is that on the RSI, we can see that we've been getting lower highs with time. With every new peak in price, we haven't been getting a higher peak in the weekly RSI. And now that tends to normally suggest that bullish momentum is waning somewhat. However, we have just seen a recent peak. We've seen Kaspa back above, or not back above 20 cents for the first time ever. And it could be that the weekly RSI is going to increase and create a higher high here, which would invalidate this theory that the bullish momentum is waning. But even still, when you consider this chart highlights perfectly that if you were to buy into Kaspa now, you would be buying at the peak of hype. And there we have it, Kaspa in a brief nutshell. Hopefully you found that update really, really useful. And remember, if you want my honest opinion on whether I would add this to an altcoin shortlist, I save my opinions for my 80/20 newsletter subscribers. So if you would like access to that, if you want help building an altcoin shortlist, that is the place to head to first. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the link to that is in the description down below. I think the Kaspa project is really interesting. I love the fact that they're trying to combine the best elements of Bitcoin and also a new block DAG structure. I think it's maybe not the best and the most optimum time to buy into Kaspa, but there's no denying if you'd been purchasing the KAS coin on all of the dips that we've seen over the last 18 months, you would be well ahead. And who's to say that that won't continue if this does become truly adopted by retail and potentially in the future by institutions? Remember, it's all about improving that risk to reward profile. Is the reward at the moment worth the risk that you're taking, that this might turn lower because it's potentially peaking and the hype behind this is so high at the moment? Please also do your own research on every altcoin project that you invest in. That is so, so important. You need to make your own mind up on this. Don't listen to anyone out there. And please also invest in a variety of other assets. Crypto is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It shouldn't be considered that way. So please do diversify into other financial opportunities. I'm really looking forward to seeing where Kaspa price goes in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.